A very good afternoon, Team Zimbabwe. Masquera say, Masquera say, Masquera say. So I just had a phone call with a former colleague, and he mentioned something which is so important. So he said, from the observations within the system, there is chaos everywhere, especially from the point where they want to know what is Chamisa's striking angle. Is it going to be a penalty? Is it going to be a corner kick? Is it going to be a free kick? So there are three options right now which Chamisa could use effectively, if not four. And ZANU PF is failing to understand the best angle to defend. Angle number one, Nelson Chamisa is likely to launch protests, nationwide protests. Those protests cannot be stopped. They are unstoppable. If protests are launched today, they are unstoppable. Okay, is he going to launch a protest? Nobody knows. Why? We have seen the police doing the needful to make sure that they have enough intelligence on the issue of protests to no avail. Number two, we have seen curfews, silent curfews being implemented. There are several reports of people who are talking about silent curfews, where they're being told close shops at this hour, close shops at this hour, not don't surpass A, B, C, D hours. That is another issue. That alone is showing that there is panic within the whole system because they know that they stole this election. They know that Team Pachedu, Team Credible Vote, led by Freeman Chari, they have the parallel tally of the V11s and they have the actual result. And on the other hand, FAS, with the cooked results, they no longer have any option. They no longer have any other means to change whatever rigging they've done already. So they are desperate to know what is Nelson Chamisa's next move. Is he going to deploy people onto the streets? If he deploys people onto the streets, are disgruntled people from within, are they going to cooperate with the regime if they are given orders to crack down on the opposition activists or protesters? That is a question without an answer. Second option is Nelson Chamisa can challenge the result which was published by ZEC or which was declared by ZEC to say Mnangagwa didn't get 52%. And if he didn't get 52%, they can prove that indeed Mnangagwa didn't get 52%. Whatever number they are going to bring, whether Chamisa has won or whether Chamisa lost, but if they manage to bring another different figure which says Mnangagwa didn't win, what it means is his percentage is going down and we are going to be left with two probabilities. Number one, Chamisa being declared winner, or number two, nobody being declared winner. Those are the only two scenarios which will come from Chamisa contesting the result. Then there's another third option for Nelson Chamisa. Chamisa can challenge the whole process. He announced that they want to challenge the whole process. So what it means is they won't be in agreement with the whole process, the way ZEC conducted the elections. What does that mean to ZANU PF? What does that mean to the people in the opposition? What it means is ZANU PF will have to make sure that they defend themselves. So ZEC is going to find it difficult to defend itself this time around. ZEC is compromised and there are limits to defense. There are points where Zimbabwe Electoral Commission cannot defend itself if how these elections were conducted is challenged. Point number one, in my own view, you will see the existence of FAS. FAS operated in these elections far more beyond anybody's mandate, far more beyond the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission's mandate. And that is questionable. And there is overwhelming evidence of FAS involvement in the whole process. People were intimidated. people were coerced, desks were set, all those issues are there. And ZAC did nothing to stop that. All those issues will give much pressure to Zimbabwe Electoral Commission and will make it fail to defend itself. Remember, ZAC's mandate is to make sure that they conduct free, fair, credible elections, and they are not supposed to side with any political organization. So, if you take a look on the Twitter handle of Zimbabwe Electoral Commission, they announced a lot of things. Let me try to go to the Twitter handle of Zimbabwe Electoral Commission for you to get understand what I would want to explain here. ZAC was announcing some issues, very, very important issues. They have never done that in the election period, but this time around, they tried by all means possible to give a clear picture about how elections should be conducted, what is legal, what is illegal. So there are certain issues which were violated, and there is evidence. And the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission cannot run away from all those issues, which they clearly indicated that those acts were unlawful. Issue number one, vote buying. Is it allowed to buy votes? It's not allowed to buy votes, but people were buying votes. Vote buying was rampant. Vote buying was happening. So if evidence is presented to suggest that vote buying was happening and ZAC did nothing or didn't act according to the laws, what it means is ZAC will fail to answer on that part. So you will see that all these issues which are being posted here, ZAC was posting a lot of things on their Twitter handle, and the things they were talking about are the things which were actually happening. So you'd see, Kuti, on the third option, ZAC is not going to have a strong case. The only party which is going to have a strong case against CCC is going to be ZANU PF, because they'll be trying to defend the rigging. They'll be trying to defend the numbers they got. And the question is, what is going to be the impact of the court application they just filed with the Electoral Court? Can that court application be used against ZANU PF at a later stage, actually to have a common view of how these elections were conducted, to have a common agreement on how these elections were conducted? What it means is ZANU PF will have limitations in terms of how they are going to defend themselves. So all these issues have created problems to ZANU PF, and now they have been cornered. So Chamisa is simply using strategic silence to make sure that nobody knows what he is planning. So right now, avasi kuziva kuti vobribe mapurisa here, kuti mapurisa arove vanhu, arakashe vanhu. Vobribe majaji here, kuti majaji aende against Nelson Chamisa. Vachabribe majaji kuti vaende against V11 here. Vachavabribe kuti vaende against the processes here. Whatever the Triple C is planning, nobody knows. There is another option, fourth option. Nelson Chamisa might have started to engage the region. He might have sent some people to the region to deal with certain matters, and they do not know the outcomes of those engagements, because as this stands right now, they only have support of Fikile Mbalula, the Secretary General of the ANC. He is the only person who is supporting ZANU PF. But if you take a look on Fikile Mbalula's utterances, they implicate ZANU PF to some extent. He supports the corruption being done by ZANU PF. He supports the looting being done by ZANU PF. And he confirms these two things. He also confirms ZANU PF ruthlessness within Zimbabwean borders to its own people. He also confirms that because of poverty, people are leaving Zimbabwe and flooding South Africa. And that clearly gives ANC as a political party insight over the problems and challenges in the nation of Zimbabwe. How these problems are causing economic decay in other countries is going to be very, very, very of much importance in this issue. Because in South Africa, the economy of South Africa, number one, the only people who are benefiting are the people who are benefiting from cheap labor. These are politicians and oligarchs. But is the general population of South Africa benefiting? No. So what can happen is that you might see protests happening in South Africa, starting in South Africa. And those protests might spill to the Zimbabwean borders. And if those protests spill to the Zimbabwean borders, the problem will be the entire region of SADC will have to use alternative borders. Because let's say protests are happening in areas like Messina, Pietersburg, and so forth, which are close to the border. What is going to happen is that the route to Zambia, the route to Malawi, route to other countries is going to be closed. And that will create a crisis in Zimbabwe without Zimbabweans being protesting, people in Zimbabwe without them being protesting, protests in South Africa alone. So you will see that this time around it is going to be very difficult for Cyril Ramaphosa and the ANC to side with Mnangagwa 100%. It is going to be very difficult for the SADC region to side with Mnangagwa this time around. That is the reason why you see only 3 countries have congratulated President Emmerson Mnangagwa and the rest are silent, except for countries like China, Belarus, who have been looting from Zimbabwe, who have been benefiting from the looting which is happening in Africa. So at this juncture, at this moment in time, they do not know what's next. They do not know Chamisa's move. So taking a look on ZANU PF itself, ZANU PF got around 64% as a party. Mnangagwa got 52%, which is being disputed. So if you take a look on the 10% plus gap, what it means is there is huge disgruntlement within the ZANU PF quarters, which means they do not know what to expect. Take a look on the voting patterns. President Mnangagwa himself said, Mapurisa andina kufanana mavotero amakaita. That was a clear message to say the people in the uniformed forces, they are simply respecting their oath of office. And that gives this regime desperate moments each and every time, because they do not know what to expect. They do not know what is going to happen next. So Team Zimbabwe, in my view, interesting moments starting from this hour. We are likely going to see interesting moments in the nation of Zimbabwe, and each and every organization you might think of or you might see today, they don't have any option because they've tried by all means to exhaust all the ankles Nelson Chamisa could use to strike, but they do not know. So is Chamisa's silence strategic? Is it going to help him, or is it going to give him power? Yes, Chamisa is already looking powerful. Why? Is because ZANU PF is now reacting. They are no longer planning. They are now reacting. Look at Nick Mangwana. When Nick Mangwana is tweeting on his Twitter handle, he is trying to control information. He is trying to send a signal about how information should flow. What it means is all the state media institutions, they have to be guided by Nick Mangwana's tweets. They have to follow the propaganda from the Ministry of Information Twitter handle and also the Permanent Secretary's Twitter handle. So what it means is they're already in panic. But with the use of social media in Zimbabwe, it's becoming very, very, very difficult to actually clamp down and control the situation. So you will see that these people, they're already in trouble. These people, they don't know what to expect and what is going to happen next. They actually do not know how the SADC Troika is going to respond to all these issues, because If you look at their responses, they are still waiting for SADC Troika, for SADC to issue its own statement regarding the way forward from now on. So they want the final report of the SADC observer mission so that they know what is next and what to expect. Because remember, SADC can give recommendations. A SADC election observer mission can work with SADC Troika to find a lasting solution, and they can give advice and they can give recommendations to what should happen. Because right now, as we are standing, we are now in a fully fledged crisis, which nobody can deny, which nobody can set aside. We are now in a crisis, and that crisis needs to be solved. And the question is, how is ZANU PF going to solve this crisis? Because it has been a political crisis. It has spilled over to become an electoral crisis, and that electoral crisis does have a bearing to become an illegitimacy crisis as well, which means we are going to have somebody who is illegitimate. We are going to have somebody who is not duly elected by the will of the people, according to the constitution and according to the laws of Zimbabwe. So that creates problems everywhere. And the question is, who knows what's next? Who is willing to sacrifice himself or herself for the sake of few individuals who are selfish? That is a very important question to ask. So this is my observation in Zimbabwe. I don't know what you think. In the comment section, please let us talk. If you are new to this platform, please hit the subscribe button so that you don't miss out each and every time we go live or we post updates.